The NFL season is here, and we are making our predictions on who will win each division. We will also talk about the late preseason signings for the 49ers. We will make some picks on who's going to win these first few games coming up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about baseball coming up. That and more on Goode Sports. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you would hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, we'd appreciate that. But we are talking NFL, and it's finally here. We're just a few days away, and I'm joined by Cameron Harkleroad and Trent Snead. Trent, how are you feeling about the NFL season starting? Are you excited? What are your thoughts?
I'm nervous, very nervous.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that my players might get robbed, beaten, bruised. But we'll get into that more as we move on.
I was afraid of things too. Now I'm afraid they're getting shot on my team. It's been an interesting weekend.
Yeah, we at the end of the week we both might have players in the hospital.
No, hope not.
Anyways,
hopefully everybody will get better. But
I won't pray for those guys.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to get into this right off the bat because we got a lot to talk about, but we're going to get into the divisions. And I just wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts were, and we're going to get started. And maybe no better place to start would be the NFC West. I don't know, just a place that I'd like to
I don't know, sounds like
see.
a pretty weak division.
Sounds like not a very good division.
This is
kind of boring.
What's amazing is actually the difference between winning and losing is actually so small.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you look at this, I mean, you can get third, you can get first, and starting off right off the season with a win or a loss can set the tone for the season. So this is a kind of a nervous time for everybody. Everybody wants to win. If they win, they feel like, hey, playoffs are happening. If they lose, the world's coming to an end. So it's interesting. But I'm going to start off with the NFC West. I'm going to give who I think is at the top. I think first of all, the Cardinals, I think, will be at the bottom. I think Seattle has a really good defense, but they're young and they've got a younger coach. I think the Rams have some really good players on their team, some good skill position players, but I don't think they're ready yet. I think the 49ers, especially with the signings that they've just recently had, if they stay healthy, that's going to be the key. That's key for everybody, but the 49ers are older, and it's more likely that they can get hurt. I think the 49ers should win that division and continue doing what they've been doing in the past. So, Trent, what about you? Who do you have in this division?
Yeah, I got a similar group. I'd probably put the 49ers first just because it's their division until they lose it at this point. They've been pretty dominant there. And then I got the Rams second, but I've come on here and I've said the Rams. I've talked very highly of the Rams. And I do want to preface by saying, I don't want to give away too much pixie dust on this one. I've been hearing a lot of people say, the Rams out of the top 10 teams, they're like number 8 right now. And you know what? I saw another guy say that they were like top 5 teams. And here's the deal. I don't care if you have Sean McVay. I don't care if you have Matthew Stafford. The fact that the Rams are being put in that position as a top 5 team is ridiculous. And this is people we call professionals. This is people we call professionals saying these things. And you know what? At the end of the day, everyone's like, well, they performed really well last year in a down year. They had nothing to play for.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's really easy to be a great quarterback and a great football team when you have nothing to play for. You go out there and you sling the rock, and guess what? If you lose, no one's going to care.
Right.
So you just go out there and you play all out. I'm sorry. I just want a preference. I do have them in my second position behind San Francisco, but I don't agree in any way, shape, or form of the how high people are speaking of this team. And we have no gauge on how well they're going to do at this point. I think it's a good team. They played really good at the end of last year. At the end of the day, though, they had nothing to play for, and they played like it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And then I would have the Cardinals in my third position, Seattle in the fourth position. Man, everyone in Seattle is going to hate me. Yeah.
What?
That's right. You're speaking from your heart. Got it. That's fair.
Just a question. In our playoff podcast, you said the Cardinals were making the playoffs. So does that mean
I do. I have 3 teams from that division making the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Now, to preference that podcast, though, we forced us to have two teams not make it and add two teams in. So it doesn't mean that's necessarily our overall predictions, but if there's two teams to not make it and two new teams, we had to put them in. Maybe you'd have them in anyway, but that was part of that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think it all comes down, that whole division just comes down to who's your quarterback. And at the end of the day, the 49ers are basically exempt, whether you want to grade Brock Purdy against Matthew Stafford and Geno Smith and Kyler Murray. The 49ers are exempt. They got the best overall team by far. It's not even close. You don't even have to grade that one out. Okay, but then you go down to the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams because they got Matthew Stafford. I trust in Stafford more than I do Kyler Murray or Geno Smith. And then I'm going to take Kyler over Geno. I'm sorry. He might have won a comeback player of the year thing, but at the end of the day, I haven't seen anything from Geno that really has told me that, yes, he's better than he was when he was with New York. I haven't seen anything that says this guy could go and win you a Super Bowl.
Right.
So,
okay, fair enough. Trent, and so those are your picks, Trent. What about you, Cameron? Who do you have?
I have 49ers winning. I hate to say it, but I mean, they're kind of clearly.
He's a huge fan.
Yeah. Sorry, this is so hard for you.
Well, I'm not gonna care.
It's gonna be harder for me later.
No matter who wins in the NFC, Chiefs are winning, so I don't really care who wins on the NFC side. But 49ers win. They're just in that division. I think they're clearly the best team.
He's gonna say it.
I can't believe you guys put the Rams at 2.
Are you gonna say Seattle?
Yes, he is gonna say Seattle.
I have Seattle too, and it's because I think they're a very young team.
Okay,
but I think they're very well put together.
Okay,
I think from last year and their rookies and their second and third year players. I mean, they're all around a great team, and no matter the Seattle is like the Cowboys for me. Like I can never count them out because somehow they find a way to make it to the playoffs or at least the wild card. Like no matter what.
They didn't last year?
Yeah, they did. They made it to the wild card.
No, they didn't play in the playoffs. No.
Oh, I thought they made it to the wild card. Anyways. Most of the time
they
do.
Make
it to the wild
that
card
is true.
Or the playoffs.
They do see somehow.
How much of that though?
Through.
How much of that do you think the Pete Carroll factor was, and now he's gone?
Last year?
No, just overall, they always make it. They didn't always make it until Pete Carroll got there. When he got there, he changed everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to say, but I don't know if necessarily a head coach only is going to change so much for Seattle. I think he's going to kind of not make some major changes this year and kind of see how the program is and try to take a lot of advice from people that have been there.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
I don't see him changing the vibe a lot right off the bat.
And then I have the Cardinals at 3 because I think Kyler is stronger and I think their
Rams
offense
at the bottom.
I have the Rams at the bottom, and it's because they have no defense. They have nothing. Their defense is I think their defense is like number 30 in the league. Like they are awful, and they will get blown out in games because they do not have a defense.
Well, if they lose Matthew Stafford, they're in trouble.
I'm
He's
not worried
older
about
than they could.
that. I'm worried about them not being able to stop anything.
Yeah,
because they have nothing.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
I think Seattle. What helps Seattle is their style is built to run the ball. And play defense. And if you do that, you keep a game close, a turnover or two, something fortunate happen, and you can get some wins. I think that's what they're going to be banking on.
I also think they have like a top 10 receiver core.
Yeah, DK. Yeah, they've got a couple.
Lockett and Jigba.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're very well balanced.
I think Njigba's a dude.
Yeah.
I think he's a dude. The disappointing thing is you'll never really know until they get an actual quarterback, but that's not the point.
It's true.
So,
well, let's move on to the NFC East. I didn't call them least. I said East.
We are the beast of the East.
The beast of the East. So
the beast
I'll go with mine. I think this is maybe one of the two easy. Well, this to me is pretty easy. I think the division is down.
Yeah.
And I think the Eagles will have this pretty handily. It all depends on how you've got some young cornerbacks with the Eagles coming in, their defense, how they play. But that offense is impressive. Saquon Barkley, if he stays healthy, He can catch, run, everything. When you can throw to your tight end, your receivers, you got a quarterback that can run.
Yeah.
You've got Lane Johnson, who's going to be there for 45 years and is the best right tackle around. You've got a lot there. That to me is a solid team. Yeah. I think the Commanders are an okay team. They're going to have a rookie quarterback there. But with then they've got a good receiver. They're going to be okay. Was it Brian Robinson, running back? McLaurin. They've got some things, but they're a ways away. Dallas has just lost a lot. I think they've got defense. They're going to be in games. When you have a quarterback and a receiver in defense, they can win some games. But I think that to not have a running game, I think it's going to be interesting to CeeDee Lamb how he does.
Hey,
because
they got Dalvin Cook out there.
Yeah,
they got Dalvin Cook.
They've got like 5 or 6 mediocre at best running backs. So they're going to be covering CeeDee Lamb all day long, and they're going to force a team to run. And if they can do it, they'll do well. If they don't, they're toast.
Their running back room is wild. I think we talked about that, Cameron, a little bit. Yeah. They got so many running backs who are like,
Yeah.
So
do we put in here or here?
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook,
Deuce Vaughn,
Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and they got the Rolls Royce dude. I forgot his real name, but
that is not an impressive group.
Why would you have 5 mediocre running backs like that?
I have seen some training clips and some like practice clips of Dalvin Cook, and he looks like he did in like 2021, 2020 Vikings, like actually a good running back. So we'll see if he's able to hold. I think he'll be the starting running back, and I think he's going to do well, actually.
Well,
because he's been what he's been saying is that he feels better than he ever has. Yeah. And he's like top of his game.
If Elliott becomes their starter, they're losing that game. I mean, that's a terrible group.
Yeah, I mean that's why the Patriots lost games.
Yeah. That's rough. And then the Giants are just terrible.
Yeah, what's weird though? I guess what's kind of strange is I think the overall division's kind of down, but like the median is actually kind of probably up. Like it's
Commanders are better.
Yeah, the Commanders are better, and Dallas isn't necessarily bad. They're just I don't think they're going to be fighting for.
I agree. They're not bad. No,
I don't think they're third.
Yeah, and New York's
put them second.
New York's not necessarily. No. The Giants aren't necessarily garbage. They still have a pretty solid defense. I mean, they've lost some players. They lost Xavier McKinney.
I think those are 2 wins for you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, ultimately, do I think we'll probably sweep every single game? Well, yes, we've done it for the last 2 to 3 years, except for the Cowboys. We usually split that one with the Cowboys. But, I mean, it's weird because I think overall the division's down. Because last year you kind of had Dallas and Philadelphia with really high records. But the overall median, I think Washington will actually have a pretty solid year. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not going to probably be 500, but they might be just below that.
I think them and the Cowboys will be a 1-game difference.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting year. I'm going to take the Eagles, and then I probably have Dallas next. The problem about Dallas, it's just like Cameron said.
You can never count them
You
out.
Can't count them out. So I mean, Dak, we forget so quickly, but Dak had a runner-up MVP season last year. CeeDee Lamb looks like probably the next prototype for wide receivers.
He was not runner-up, but
yes,
good. He was, but he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He got the nod. They nodded at him, He was invited to the cookout.
Better than Brock Purdy.
No. Whoa. Brock Purdy, they played against each other, and Purdy killed him.
Mm-hmm. Or
as he does
Purdy's
each time.
Offense kill him.
No, Purdy's stats killed him. Purdy took the ball from the center and threw the ball a lot better.
Sir,
than
this
Dak.
isn't about Brock Purdy. Okay, sir, get back here.
No
get
one
back.
cares about your teenager.
Anyways, oh gosh, you can't count on Dallas. Yeah. I think Washington's gonna have a solid year, like I said, but I don't think you can. Mm-hmm. He would have Jaden Daniels have to pull a whole Robert Griffin III season to be able to make the playoffs. But and then New York, I think they're going to be down. I don't know what they're going to do there. They invested so much in Daniels and Danny Jones. Sorry, my bad.
Danny
Dimes.
And
Why did they make that trade with the Eagles?
I don't know.
That had
You
the
talking about
trade-
Washington?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
I don't understand it. It looked like they were trying to make a trade for Ayuk and get another draft pick to go. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Unless every other team was willing to give them a fourth, and the Eagles were the only team willing to give them a third.
But why would they give up a serviceable receiver?
Well, he's a first rounder 2 years ago.
Yeah, but why do that? I just don't understand.
I don't know.
Okay.
Listen, and not only
Have
was he
your people
serviceable,
talk
he had
to
like
my
11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't a slouch.
I missed.
Like he didn't have the most
No,
yards.
who got-
Jahan Dotson. He got traded to the Eagles.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't going to be their number one. Terry McLaurin was going to be their number one.
Yes.
But he was good. I mean, he had more touchdowns than he probably should have. He didn't have that many receiving yards. But he's a number one overall, or not number one overall. Sorry,
Yeah,
he was
he's
a first round pick.
He's a little slot receiver. He
Yeah.
just kind of runs those slant routes right in the red zone.
Maybe
Great
it's
to
just
see.
not what they were looking for. I don't know.
Great trade for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean,
Great.
I'll take
Great
it.
trade.
Great trade.
Cameron, what about you?
I have Eagles winning. I mean, I think they're clearly, in my opinion, they're the best team in the NFC. I think they'll win. I think it'll be 49ers, Eagles, NFC Championship, and I think Eagles will squeak it out. But the 49ers just have injury. Their
older.
nickname is injury prone. Like every single year, all I hear from 49er fans is, well, if we didn't get injured, if this player didn't get injured, and it happens all the time, but it happens to you guys so much.
I don't want to get off track, but I did see something today. You guys aren't going to get Greenlaw back until like halfway through the season.
Correct.
Same thing with Hufunga.
No, Hufunga's back.
No, I heard he's not coming back yet.
No, he's just returning right now. So he'll be back. He'll be back way
Is he
early.
going to
You
play
won't
the
have-
game though?
You won't have Ricky
He's
Parasol.
questionable. He's
Yeah, I don't
questionable.
think Ricky's going to come back.
Ricky's
anytime
not,
soon.
but we got Ayuk back.
But
Overpaid,
Yeah.
but
I
we
don't
got
know.
him back.
You got Ayuk back, who doesn't really want to play for your team
No, he
and
does.
just wants money.
We'll talk about that in a second. No,
okay,
he
okay,
does.
yeah, we're getting
I
off track.
guarantee
We're
you he
getting off
doesn't.
track.
Anyways, I have Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants.
Okay.
You can never count out the Cowboys. They're probably going to squeak into the playoffs somehow.
Maybe I could
It's
see it.
just
I could see
stupid,
it.
but
Definitely possible.
the only thing that they lost was their run game, which already wasn't very strong, and they made the playoffs.
They
last
lost some offensive line too.
year. Yeah, but they're not running,
So we'll
so
see.
they don't really need it.
So
Anyways.
okay, so let's go NFC South. Terrible division. But I think we're probably all going to have the same pick here.
Yeah.
Falcons, I
Yep.
think with what they've done in the offseason, they finally got a quarterback.
Big Kirko.
And,
Big
they've
Kirk.
got Bijan Robinson. They've got, decent receiver. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Kyle Pitts does going forward.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that they finally got a quarterback, as if Matt Ryan isn't a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but when he's old, I mean, you take players.
He made it. Yeah.
He was not the same player the
How
last
long-
couple years.
Yeah, how long has it been since Matt Ryan was good? It's been at least 10 years,
Since
right?
the Patriots, so it's 2018, 2019.
I mean, he fell off when Kyle left. He fell off a cliff pretty significantly.
Yeah. I mean,
they've
he's just
had
old.
now we'll know where these receivers are, London, and we'll know with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Man, if London and Kyle Pitts can't somehow have a good season this year, what a waste of first-round talent, right?
Well, Drake London has never been good. I've had him on my fantasy team like last 3 years, and he's been ranked like top 50, top 40 in like overall points. He's awful every year. He's terrible.
This year he was ranked in the top 20
Yeah, he's like 20.
because of the Kirk Cousins
it's
factor.
stupid. He's not a good receiver. Anyways, off topic.
So I have them. I have the Panthers at the bottom. I have probably the Bucks.
Really?
Yeah, the Panthers at the bottom. I have Bucks. They're going to win some games. They just got too many good players, and I think the Saints will do okay. I just think it's a weak division. I got Atlanta.
Hear me out.
Winning it
so
out.
you have Saints at 2?
I have Bucks at 2, Saints at 3.
Okay.
Panthers are my wild card. I'm probably going to still put them in fourth in this specific scenario, but hear
Which
me out.
doesn't make sense.
Hear me
Bad,
out.
bad.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Bryce Young plays anything like C.J. Stroud did last year.
Okay.
They picked up some young talent in the wide receiver core. They got Deontay Johnson. They got the Xavier
Sharp.
Legette. kid,
DJ Shark.
And they still have Adam Thielen, right?
Thielen, yeah.
They got a pretty solid O-line. They got an actual running back, Jonathan Brooks from Texas. He hasn't played for the first 4 games, but after that, he'll roll into it. Chuba Hubbard's still there. I'm pretty sure Miles Sanders is still somehow on the roster.
Maybe.
So where do you have them ranked though?
Oh,
in a bad
I'm still
division?
putting them 4th.
No.
Okay, so you have them 4th. Who you have? Atlanta 1.
I have Atlanta 1.
Where do you have the others?
Tampa Bay 2. And honestly, I will not be surprised if somehow Tampa Bay still wins and beats out Atlanta. I know that sounds wild, but listen,
They could.
Never count out
Baker. I'm not counting
Never
Baker out.
count out
That guy is a dude. And you know what I like about Baker that you don't get from Big Kirko is Baker wants it. He's got
Always.
heart. That guy, he would
How
actually
many good seasons has he had?
Every
If you
single
look-
one.
Go
every
look
single
at his-
one.
Did you
what
see-
are you talking
okay,
about?
okay.
The
My
Browns said,
favorite-
I
my
don't
fa-
want the number 1 pick anymore. I don't want him. I don't want him. That's what they did. And
It's the Browns. They gave $200 million
They picked
guaranteed to
up
Deshaun
Massage
Watson.
Watson.
They stacked the team
The Browns are terrible.
for Baker, and he failed
Yeah.
year after year after year.
But
he
it's
had a
the
good year
Browns.
last year. I have to give him credit. He did a good job with the Bucks.
I'm going to tell you this
But
right
they
now.
gave him away, and they took Massage Watson, gave him the bank and a half, and
I'm going to tell you this right now. If Brock Purdy was in the same position that Baker Mayfield was when he got drafted, he would be in the same place today.
Factual.
that is
Factual.
not you have
That
no
is
faith.
factual.
Brock Purdy is only good because he's on the 49ers.
Oh, good Lord.
No,
Seriously?
no. We can't sit
That's
here.
insane. You don't know that.
No,
That's-
we
Yes, I
can't
do.
sit here and pretend like where you go as a quarterback isn't as crucial as the quarterback themselves. You
Yes.
put
It
Brock
helps.
Purdy. You put Brock Purdy on the Browns
In 2018.
in 2018, and then you take him to the
Go
Carolina
look
Panthers.
at the Browns. Go look at who they had. When Baker was on the Browns, they had great receivers.
and
they had a great
made the
running back.
playoffs in the first time in like 30 years.
Who was their wide receiver? Who was their number 1 receiver?
So who'd they have? They had
No,
no. I will give it.
No, come on.
No, I'm going to tell you. I will
It
tell
was
you.
Amari Cooper.
Cooper
came
came
late.
from Dallas, but
But
they
he
did
was
end
there.
up having Cooper.
Yeah.
It was Jarvis Landry.
It was Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry.
Who had over
That was
100
their number
receptions.
1.
I'm gonna look it up 'cause it's like 6 years ago.
Come on.
He was. Why would you give up on the number 1 pick? Why would you give up on it and just totally give up on him if he's great? If he's
'Cause he was
really, really
loud.
good.
I wasn't
He was
saying
loud.
he's great.
He's not even. He wasn't good. He was. Nobody
not-
wanted him.
I'm not saying that he's a great quarterback.
Yeah, no
I'm
one,
just
no one ever
saying-
said that.
I'm just saying him and Brock Purdy are similar talent-wise, but your path that you take in the NFL can define
Absolutely.
whether or not you
Absolutely.
are play good. So if
There's-
Brock Purdy was put on that Browns team,
That happens
he'd
for
probably
everybody.
end up in the same place that Baker Mayfield
That's your
is
opinion.
right now.
I don't agree based on
And I
a
think
whole
if you
bunch
put-
of reasons.
I
One,
think if you put Baker Mayfield on the 49ers in 2022, he takes them to the playoffs too.
I think Baker could have.
Yeah.
That's true.
I
I don't
think-
think
I mean,
Baker
you
is
look at-
terrible.
No.
But Baker is not good, and he failed in Cleveland. He
that's
failed.
hurtful. That's
he
hurtful.
failed. He failed.
I think Cleveland failed him.
I agree.
How they stacked
He
the
took
roster?
them to the playoffs,
The
and
city
then they
loved
got
him.
rid of him.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. That doesn't make
I
sense.
think it might have been because of his stats, because of his interceptions. Because the problem with Baker is, and this is always what's hard when you're drafting a quarterback, is you want a quarterback that has confidence but not arrogance. He was extremely arrogant. And what he does is when you're extremely arrogant and you're not going, which is confidence, you start throwing into tight windows when the tight windows aren't there. He had a lot of interceptions. He lost the locker room. The players didn't like him, and they gave him away, and he signed for a minimal amount because of how he produced. Now, I would like to see Baker do well. He did do a good job last year. I commend him. His arrogance helped his resurgence, but he did have is it Gordon that played with Cleveland too back then before
Josh Gordon, yeah.
They had 2 or 3 good receivers. They also had a very good defense. They had good cornerbacks back then. I'll try to get the players by the end, and they had a good running back. He just didn't live up to what they thought he would live up to. A lot of people don't, but he didn't. And Brock Purdy on the other side just has better decision making. He processes better. Very few quarterbacks that I see process well. And what Brock Purdy, what sets him apart, in my opinion, and this is what they say through the analysis, is he makes decisions. He goes, no, yes. And Tom Brady did that. He was no, whatever it was. This person comes in, he goes here. Mahomes does it extremely well. They're better, obviously. But he goes based on talent. And that's what he did. He based it on talent and arrogance, and he was subpar. So I hope Baker does well. But don't try to compare those two. That to me is insane. But we'll move on.
To be fair, we were never saying that Baker Mayfield was going to beat the 49ers and Brock Purdy. We were just saying...
You're saying they're
don't
comparable.
we're saying don't count them out to beat Atlanta in the division. That's all that we were originally saying.
Okay, I
think
fine.
if you put Brock Purdy on any of these like lower half teams, he's not even a top 10 quarterback.
I
don't know. It's that's so hard to know. I mean,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
could be.
Yeah,
that could be.
I just think
if you take extreme Joe Montana, who is all time, if you put him on a mediocre, we don't know how he'd be. If you take Mahomes away from Reed, you don't know how he would do.
Yeah,
a lot of these players. So yes, the right system makes a difference, and the right players and the right culture.
I'm just saying.
Don't
Don't you think Baker would want a little Kyle Shanahan?
Yes, Baker would benefit off of a
not
Kyle
important.
Shanahan.
We go back to you. We were talking about the Bucks.
Okay, Bucks. I got Bucks,
2.
Saints, Panthers.
Okay.
I don't know why
The Saints are so bad.
I know
they
are.
Spencer Rattler is their starting quarterback.
Saints are bad.
I thought Derek Carr's still going to start.
Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is going to be their guy.
He wasn't their guy last year.
Yeah. Well,
Alvin Kamara
I don't know
is
that
declining.
Yeah, he is declining.
Olave will hopefully be able to walk in a straight line after last year. After getting dribbled 40 times.
He got dribbled so many times.
Dude, that Witherspoon hit, that was bad.
Those are scary hits.
Watching him get dribbled is, quite honestly, you could do like a whole 25-hour highlight reel of him being dribbled.
Yeah, it's insane. It's bad.
I've never seen a player get dribbled that much.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I have Falcons winning. I have Bucks too. I think they'll be close, but I think Falcons will take it just because I hope and pray that they use their talent properly. I hope that they actually use Bijan this year. I hope they actually use Kyle Pitts.
It's wild.
Because if they don't, it's stupid.
The way that they didn't use Bijan last year should have been a crime.
I think he had 10 runs.
They should have taken him to jail for that.
Yeah, it's bad. Anyways, Falcons 1, Bucks 2. I have Panthers at 3 because even though they're young, I think they're just a better team than the Saints. They just have overall better talent.
I believe that.
And the Saints are they're going to be so bad.
Yeah.
You have them at the bottom.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think they're bottom 3 of the NFC.
Yeah. That'll be a conversation for another day, but where do they go from here? I mean, it's gotten so bad so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, when you
trade Kamara.
When you lose a coach like that, you lose your quarterback and then you lose your coach. I mean, those are 2 huge positions, and they haven't been able to fill them.
No.
Nope.
No. I mean, the problem is they trade Kamara. Who gets who gets the people to come watch the games at that point?
Picks, dude. They need picks, and they need young, flashy guys. That's why they got Olave.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is not going to do it.
I need Olave to have a good year. I have some personal interest in that.
Because he's on your fantasy
He
team?
is on my. If he is, I need him to as you say, walk straight.
Yeah.
The whole year.
What's the next division we got?
Okay, well, we got to move on to the NFC North, and that's going to be a tough one. That's a good division.
This one was the hardest one, but I think I got it right.
We all think we got it right.
Listen, I tell you what it is.
Okay,
you want me to tell you what it is?
Okay, you tell me what it is.
Okay, I'm taking the Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
Okay,
is that exactly what you have?
Nope.
That's exactly what I have.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
That's exactly what I have.
What do you got?
I have the Bears and the Packers flipped.
Packers could.
Okay.
That's all. That's the only thing I say.
Is that the love factor?
Yeah. I don't trust.
You don't trust Jordan yet.
Jordan Love.
No, and honestly, I don't blame you.
He had one semi-good year last year, and then they were like, here, have all of our money.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to go to his head.
Yeah.
And I think he's not going to play as good. And they don't have as much talent outside of that. They just got Josh Jacobs, which is a good pickup.
Yep.
But who's their tight end?
Yeah.
Luke Musgrave. I love that dude.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I do love Luke Musgrave.
They have Christian Watson.
I like
They
Watson.
have
Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo
Jaden
Dobbs.
Romeo
Which I don't
Dobbs.
like Dobbs
They're
that
just-
much.
You don't?
Christian Watson's
I think
old.
I like Jaden Reed.
Watson's not old.
Yeah, he is.
He was drafted two or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I
Really?
think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was
He
a
was-
super senior.
Yeah,
out of
he
North
was.
Dakota.
He was out of.
Yeah, but he was 2 years ago, and he was supposed to be a first-round pick, fell to the second round.
Yeah, but he was old in college. He played a lot of college ball.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure he
he's
was like a fifth-year
28,
senior.
29. I think he's
don't know.
old. Anyways, not important.
Yeah.
But he
then they
hasn't. I
just-
don't think he's played a full season healthy, which is another problem.
Last year he played a full season,
Did he play a full season last year?
Mhm.
All right.
and I had him on my fantasy. He did mediocre.
Yeah.
He's like a Drake London.
Yeah.
He just was projected
for
to be
he's-
super good. And
He's
never
25.
was.
He's
He's
way
25.
faster. He's way faster than Drake London.
He is.
He ran like a 4.3 if I remember
Christian
correctly.
Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian Watson's fast.
And he's like
and
6'5".
He's athletic, and he is only 25.
But he still hasn't produced like big time wide receiver.
No,
numbers
I
yet.
thought he was hurt at the beginning of last season.
Yeah, I think he hasn't
he's
played a whole
kinda
season
started
healthy
late,
yet. I don't know.
Anyways,
They have some studs on that defense though. Jair Alexander, that guy's a dog. I love him. Have you ever seen?
I don't know. I feel like he's declined in the
I
last
don't
couple
know.
of years.
Did you
he
ever
was really good, but I think the last couple of years he's kind of just slowly.
You ever see the video of him talking about him matching up with Justin Jefferson?
No.
He's like, I don't know, man. He's like, he's pretty good wide receiver, but I'm a good cornerback too. And then he goes out there and he locked him up the whole game.
He did.
That's
He only
pretty
had
good.
like one catch for 5 yards.
I love the confidence
Yeah.
of these guys sometimes and what they say.
It
can be fun.
This is the same
But,
guy
like-
that added himself to the captains.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
He
I
just,
love that.
He just included himself.
yeah, he ran out there.
I'm captain now.
He said it was like Packers versus Detroit, and he's like, "Well, I'm from Detroit. I'll be a captain." And he just ran out there. I love that. That's fantastic. How can you be mad as a coach?
So my question is, who else is on their defense?
Quay Walker, he's a dog. That guy's an absolute dog. He actually is a Georgia Bulldog, which is hilarious now that I'm saying he's a dog. But he had like over 100 solo tackles last year. Guy is insane athlete. He went like the third round. I remember seeing him in the second, and I was like, why aren't we taking this guy? He's an animal. Anyways,
So we all agree Detroit won.
Yeah.
yeah.
We just maybe whether
Packers
it's
or Bears.
Williams or
The only thing that's
Love.
hard about the Bears is that you got big tight end Keenan Allen. I'm not sure what's going on there.
I think
I don't know why he put on 80 pounds in the offseason.
Well, food is a luxury
Yeah.
for some people. So.
And
I don't know. I think Bears have like top 4.
they have good
wide
receiving
receiver
core. Yeah, that receiving core is impressive.
oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
they've got a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see
Even-
where they're at.
Even with Keenan Allen playing at tight end now, I mean he's still a stud.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the AFC. So we get going. AFC West.
yeah,
Okay.
Hey, it's just mine.
That's a division that has created some success over the years.
A little bit. Thanks to you guys.
So I have. Well, there's also some help from some other people, but anyway, I've got the Chiefs number 1. I would say Chargers number 2. It doesn't really matter after that. Broncos 3, Raiders 4.
Wow.
They're not any good. I'm
You're
not
down.
for either of those two teams.
Really?
you're down.
No, nope. Those two. I think the Chiefs have it. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, that's
and
obvious.
I have the Harbaugh factor moving up to 2.
Hear me out, Bronco country.
No, get out of here.
Let's ride.
I would love them to ride. dude.
No, dude.
Hear me out.
Are you gonna have them 1?
No.
There's no way.
I got Kansas City 1.
Please do it though.
I got Kansas City
Don't
1.
put
Broncos.
I got
too.
Denver Broncos
Oh,
number
good.
2.
Why?
Okay. I thought for a second the Los Angeles Chargers with Jim Harbaugh. But you know what?
Yeah.
I like Sean Payton. And I watched the preseason with Bo Nix. He looks like an absolute analytical monster out there. Okay. Listen,
I like Peyton.
I
but-
don't watch the preseason for anything. I don't. I
'cause
really
it
don't.
means nothing.
Because it means nothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
have an aneurysm.
just watching him, just watching Bo Nix at work, it made sense. It did. You're watching him, you're going, that's the next Drew Brees. He was analytical in the way he moved around, threw the ball. They got a good
he's
running
not
back.
Analytical. He's just
Javonte
senile.
Williams is a stud running back. He's not the best running back, but he's a good running back. Jaleel McLaughlin's a great pass-catching little third-down running back. Their wide receiver room's still solid. They got Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims.
But so you say, though, quarterbacks play such a role, so you got Herbert and Nix.
Yeah, I know. But that's how I feel about Knicks right now.
Dude,
Okay.
I don't know what you are on.
right.
Listen, that's all I'm saying. That's
That's
how I
okay.
feel about him.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. What about you, Cameron? Where are you at?
Wait, what are the last two?
Oh, I got Chargers and then Raiders. You want me to put the Chargers at the end? Sorry, my bad.
No. You can't have the Chargers at the end.
No. Chiefs obviously win.
Yes.
Chargers are 2.
Yep.
I think that's even more clear.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I have Raiders at 3.
Oh, my. There's no way.
Yes.
Because of
The
Devontae
Broncos-
Adams?
Huh?
Why? Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams is still
wild.
top 3 receiver in the
Great
league.
edge rusher.
I love
Crosby.
Gardner Minshew just as much as everybody else.
Max Crosby is in the running for Defensive Player of the Year.
You're wild.
No, absolutely not. I'm not wild. You're
Drew,
insane.
I want you to clip this.
You're
When the Broncos,
insane.
when the Broncos finish the division number 2, I want you to clip this, okay?
When Bo Nix
When-
tears his ACL because he's 25.
Listen, he's salt and pepper, baby. He's salt and pepper. He's aged, okay? He's well aged. He's like fine wine.
Oh, gosh.
He's been down the cellar for the last 5 to 6 years.
We're spending
So,
too much time
we're going
teams that are mediocre.
Oregon quarterback for Oregon quarterback here.
Oh,
And you're choosing the one that was there, that was in college for way too long.
That's what I'm saying.
okay.
I believe in
Justin
the
Herbert. I mean, I think the Chargers are going to make playoffs, but that's just me. Yeah, Broncos last. I think they win like maybe 2 games. Maybe.
wild.
Okay.
Cortland Sutton's terrible. Their wide receivers are actually awful
I don't know.
every year.
Guess we'll find out.
We'll
I'm
look.
glad
we'll
they
look.
got
clip this, please.
I'm glad they got rid of Jerry Jeudy because that was just an anchor.
Which is wild.
No.
He was from Alabama,
He's
dude.
terrible.
When have Alabama receivers missed?
The problem with I like
Jerry Jeudy.
I know
like-
that's the only one I can think of.
I like Sean Payton, but the Russell Wilson trade killed him. And that is hard to recover. When you give up that much for him and then you give him away and you're paying for him, it's just hard to recover. When you pay a quarterback, that quarterback has to be healthy and play great.
Also, this is a hot take for what you just said. I think Marvin Harrison will not be that good. I think Marvin Harrison will
Junior?
actually be.
But we're switching over to the Cardinals
No,
now?
I just he brought up something and I just
No,
wanted
I got how you get there.
Yeah.
I understand how you got there.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna be good. I
Okay.
think he might. I think he's overhyped.
You think he's overhyped?
I think he's like a Zion Williamson.
Oh, my God.
Like he's prophesied to be
Like
this
he's Baker
next-
Mayfield,
yeah.
you mean?
Whoa!
Oh!
Yeah, that's fine.
Disrespect on Baker's name. Baker, I love you, man. Don't let him talk to you like that.
Okay, let's move to an actual good division.
Also, I believe in Minshew madness.
I do too. I do like Minshew.
The mustache does get me going.
Yes. So
And the
AFC
mullet.
North. Let's go AFC North. I've got Ravens 1.
Yep.
I've got Bengals 2. I've got Steelers 3, and I've got the Browns 4.
Okay.
It's a really good division. I think the Steelers personally should have went after Ayuk. I really do. I think one more receiver would have made a huge difference. You got to help your quarterback group out, and
You know
I
what's
think they
wild?
should have done that.
Is he kind of feels like a Steeler?
I know
Ayuk does.
because he is physical.
Because he looks.
He's a
exact-
Heinz Ward dude.
He is.
He looks like almost the same as Najee Harris.
It's true.
Yeah.
They
So,
look very similar.
but they didn't, and I think that's going to cost them. The Futano or whatever, I think he's going to be a good pickup for him. I think they're going to be solid, but I think they're going to be behind the Bengals because I see right now that they've got too many weapons offensively, and I think Burrow's going to have a good year. So, if they keep him healthy, which twice in his career they have not, but it's an every other for them. So that's what I have. What about you, Trent?
I'm gonna go ahead and take. Oh, man, I really don't want to do this.
Don't do it.
I kind of hope he does it.
He's gonna put Bengals at 1.
I am.
It's
I'm gonna put
okay.
Bengals at 1.
It's okay.
Listen, I'm
so
gonna put.
That's
bad.
not bad, Burrows.
That's so
Listen,
bad.
I'm gonna put the Bengals at the 1. I still
Okay.
feel like ultimately I know what I'm getting from Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Lamar, I just continue to feel like he's a wild card in everything he does. Now, to be fair, anytime Lamar plays in the NFC, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. So if
He's
the guy
lost
ever,
one game
Yeah.
in the NFC.
if the guy ever makes it to a Super Bowl, his odds are great. But that being said, he's got to play in the AFC every day, and I don't know. Part of me feels like the Baltimore Ravens, they got a little cocky. They let Patrick Queen go. I thought he was the better linebacker between him and Roquan Smith.
Oh, no.
Really?
No,
Yes,
no,
I
no.
truly do.
That was
No,
a
no, no,
great
no, no, no,
linebacker
no, no.
group. I'll
It
tell you,
was.
they were great.
It was. I don't know. Anyways,
Derrick
they let
Henry.
they let Patrick Queen go to the Steelers,
Derrick Henry.
and I know, but Derrick Henry, he's old, man. And you know what? He was getting snaps taken away by Tajay Spears last year, and I don't feel great about Derrick Henry. I don't feel good about them letting one of their stud linebackers go in the offseason. Lamar, he keeps on winning MVPs, but I'm like, where's the guy ever in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
They made it last year.
They were in
Championship.
the playoffs. I feel like he just doesn't show up and actually perform in a manner
I mean,
that
he played against Patrick Mahomes. That's kind of like it's
He
it's
had the
hard
game.
to do.
If it wasn't for a fumble at the 1-inch line, they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
man, he's got to get it done. Sorry,
I don't know.
But he hasn't got it done.
After
That's
year
true.
5, I don't want to hear excuses anymore about how you can't finish a game. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
too far.
Okay.
Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah.
too.
You know who doesn't have excuses for making it to the Super Bowl? Joe with Burrow.
Yeah.
So I'm taking him number 1.
Okay.
Bengals number 1. Ravens number 2.
Okay.
Man, it pains me to say that the Browns are going to be 4 because I got to put the Steelers 3rd.
Yeah.
The problem is, the sad thing is the Browns probably one of the more talented rosters, actually, in my opinion. I would say I might take the Browns roster over the Bengals or the Steelers
Because of the defense?
because the defense. But I do like those quarterbacks that much more. Anyways,
You would take Myles Garrett over Minka and T.J. Watt.
yes. Myles Garrett, I think, is the number 1 best player in the NFL right now, or best defensive player. Sorry, my bad.
No.
I take Myles Garrett. He is my defensive player of the year.
I agree with you. I think he's the best defensive player.
No.
Where would you put him? You act like he's
Two.
number 20.
Two or
Oh,
three.
brother. Well, two.
Oh, you're
not
giving me a
one, though.
lot of no-nos
He's not one.
for one position.
It's clearly T.J. Watt.
No,
Clearly.
get out of town.
I wouldn't say it's. I would go with Garrett.
I'd
I
take
would
Max
too.
Crosby over Myles Garrett.
No.
Yes, I would.
Maybe just because he's a psychotic, and I love that about him.
The Browns.
Dude's nuts.
The Browns feel like they've just been cursed. With
They don't make very good decisions.
they've had
No.
problems. I mean, they've had some athletic, like I was saying earlier. It was Odell Beckham. That's who they had, and who was coming off the Giants, and he was one of their receivers, and he was one of the hottest, best receivers when he was playing for Baker. They had Hooper also as a tight end, but
Austin
they
Hooper.
Yeah, I
but
forgot about
but
him.
they just have. I don't know. There's something cloud over them, and they're going to be in the cellar for a while until they do some awakening or
Probably
something that
be
happens.
Some
there.
soul
They've got
searching.
to do something.
Maybe they need to get
something.
Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they'll take him on a darkness retreat.
Right? A cleansing.
A cleansing.
They need a cleansing
Start
because they've
seeing the
just had
Hat
some.
Man.
They've had some issues, but
Yeah.
What's your list? Did Cameron already do his?
I did not.
Yeah.
I have Ravens 1. I
okay.
got Steelers 2.
What?
I got Bengals 3. And
That's
I got Browns
wild.
4.
Okay, so we agree with 1 and 4. It's just 2 and 3.
The reason I have the Steelers at 2 is because no matter what, Mike Tomlin gets at least 50.
If they had
And the Bengals are declining. Joe Burrow will not be the quarterback that he was 2 years ago. He was injured pretty much all of last year.
our friend Craig Dodds is happy with you right now. Where would they be if they had Ayuk too? Where would they be?
This is a disgrace to
The
reality.
same, but they would win like 10 games instead of 8.
Okay.
I think the clear winners are the Ravens. I don't think it's even close.
Wild.
The Ravens are just like stupid good right now.
Yeah.
I have them winning this week against my team.
Yeah.
Well,
We better move on so we can get to those predictions.
And the Browns are awful. The Browns are
okay.
If Myles Garrett needs to get out of town.
well, I would if
He
I was
needs
Myles
to
Garrett
leave.
too. I'd leave the Browns, but
All right. Well, here's where you guys all get ticked off me last time. But AFC East, I'm going to go Buffalo 1.
Wrong.
Okay, that's okay. I know you're going to have Miami, Mr. Tyreek Hill living in the past with the
No,
Chiefs.
I'm a Tua guy.
But I'm going to go Bills 1. I'm going to go Jets 2. Who is like tied basically. It could go either way with Miami, but I'm going to go Miami 3, and then I think there's no 4th, 5th, or 6th. I think the Patriots are like 7th. They're that bad. So those are my
They're
picks.
not the worst team in the league, though.
They're pretty bad.
they're
Not the
pretty
worst.
god.
I think in the SEC they would struggle.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
it's actually pretty
They
factual.
win in the Pac-10.
Yeah, maybe in the Pac-10. Give me Buffalo.
Okay.
Give me Miami. Give me the Jets.
Okay.
That's hard to say though, because man,
They're both.
Jets is such a wild card. Because honestly, if the Jets end up performing like they should, then I'm gonna go Miami, Jets, Buffalo. But the problem is the Jets are such a wild card because they have the defense to literally rival any team in the league right now.
Yeah.
Easily. They're top 3 defense for
Yeah,
sure.
they have a great defense. They have a running game.
They're for sure top 3 defense.
Yeah.
And then you have Breece Hall. So literally all Aaron Rodgers has to do is stay healthy.
and they have Garrett Wilson. I mean, they've got a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
all Aaron Rodgers has to do is stay healthy, and then they probably win the
Right.
They either win the division or come in second.
Yeah. Yep.
But if he doesn't stay healthy,
Yeah.
Buffalo's going to take it.
But that's same as Tua. I'm worried about Tua's health too.
I think on the one-on-one matchups, Buffalo's going to beat Miami. That's why it's difficult because Buffalo will beat Miami most likely. No. But then Miami's going to beat New York.
See, don't you
But
think
then
this,
New York might beat Buffalo.
don't you think this division 3 teams could win the division?
Yeah, I could see it.
I mean, I think that is
3
the-
teams can make the playoffs in the
Yeah,
division.
absolutely they could.
I don't even have the Bills making the playoffs.
Oh,
I want you
Okay.
to. I want you.
Your
my-
hot takes are almost getting too hot.
My question is.
You're talking about
My
Josh
question-
Allen here.
Yeah, but who's he gonna throw to?
It doesn't even matter. He hasn't
he
had
gonna
anyone to
throw
throw to his whole career.
Yes, he has Stephon Diggs.
Oh gosh. Listen.
What are we? What?
Stephon Diggs isn't even the number 1 wide receiver on the Texans.
Not now.
Oh, so now he's not as good.
I actually think Diggs was overrated the whole time.
I do. I agree.
I think he was overrated. I think it'll be really interesting to see what they do because they've always struggled with their running game and how they'll try to complement that with Josh Allen. But But you got him 1. Who do you have 2? We'll let you have your opportunity to be wrong.
Miami at 1. I have
Oh.
Jets 2.
Miami at 1. Okay.
I have Bills 3
Okay.
and Patriots 4.
Do you
Bills are missing. The
Patriots are
playoffs.
40th or 4.
4.
you have them missing the playoffs or in the
Have
playoffs?
The Bills missing the playoffs.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think Josh Allen is enough to push that poverty team across the line.
Okay.
They've
Well-
nothing. They've absolutely nothing. They barely made it.
Right.
I see it
It's just-
I see it as a real possibility that the Bills don't make it.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being a possibility if Aaron Rodgers doesn't
It
play
will
well.
all depend on Aaron Rodgers staying
Yeah.
healthy. But if he stays healthy, the Jets are contenders and they'll win 12 games.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, health is the paramount thing for everything. So let's go to the AFC South.
I think we all have the same thing. I hope.
We
No, we
I
don't
don't
because
know
this
that we
guy is an
do.
Anthony Richardson. Just
Okay,
No.
I'm gonna go Texans.
No, I do have the Texans winning.
okay.
I just have the Colts in second because I don't like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like Trevor Lawrence. So let me rephrase that.
It is that you don't like Trevor.
I just think he's super hyped up and he hasn't proven anything.
He also doesn't have any talent there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling with 2 and 3.
Really?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go Jaguars 2.
Yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
go Colts 3.
You have your opinion.
Who's their running back?
So Etienne.
Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne.
I mean,
How
yeah,
did you mess
excuse me.
that up so bad?
Sorry, I
Etienne?
always struggle with that. name.
Etienne?
Who's
And
their-
he's been on my fantasy team
Who are those
for
receivers?
2 years.
Who
But why? Well, let me ask.
Christian
Trevor
Kirk.
Lawrence?
Let me ask you.
Uh-huh.
What do you think, Cameron, of Trevor Lawrence?
I like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a good quarterback. I think if you put him on any of the top 5, 10 teams, he excels. I think he's just in a bad spot. I think anyone who's in his position.
You think it's the players around him?
I think it's the Jaguars.
Okay, so they're like the Browns.
Yeah,
there's
they're
just a cloud.
Not good. I don't think they haven't been good since Jalen Ramsey was on the team, and that was like 5 years ago.
No,
they got Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr.
Gabe Davis.
Yep.
Yeah, so now the Bills don't have Gabe Davis either. So the Bills have
and Brian
Curtis
Thomas
Samuel.
Jr. is no slouch, and Evan Ingram is a stud at tight end.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's good.
No,
he'll be He'll be a top 5.
He's awful.
All right.
Top 5
so
tight
anyway,
end
I've got Jaguars 2,
No.
Colts 3. But what about you? Where are you at?
I got Colts 2. I just basically swapped those around. I got Texans, Colts, Jaguars.
Okay.
Yep.
And then obviously everyone knows where the Titans are going to be this year.
Yeah.
Titans are the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Hear me
By
out.
far.
They could surprise us a little
No.
bit.
I don't know. I think New England's
surprise
going to
us a
have
little
something to say about that in the end. New England's not good.
I don't know. Listen, it all comes down to Will Levis. There's a chance he could be all right. There's a chance. I'm not saying there's a big chance.
I think
There's
the
a chance.
Titans will be above them. But
If Will Levis plays all right, they have an all right run game
Yeah.
with Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. Their offensive line is still all right. Their wide receiver room, it's got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd. I was just telling you this the other day.
You thought that's why I was wondering if you'd have them up higher.
No, I don't. The problem is I don't have anything to go off of. But I was telling Randy on the phone the other day. I just was realizing their roster actually is a lot better than you think it is. And it reminds me a lot of the roster that did really good with Tannehill. The Ryan Tannehill year, where they had just like a really solid run game, defense played well, and they just ran the ball.
Defense?
What?
Who's defensive players for them?
Henry was running. Well, that was when he was like 2,000 yards rushing or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, Cameron, what about you? What do you have?
I have the same thing as Trent. I have Texans 1, Colts, Jaguars. I think the Colts and the Jags
Could go either way.
I don't have a lot of faith in Jonathan Taylor anymore. I think he had one good season and then he just hit the ground.
Yeah.
When he
Like
came
same
back,
as Cooper
he
Kupp.
did pretty well when he came back last year.
I think Jonathan Taylor is the running back version of Cooper Kupp. Just a one really good season and then just
That's the thing,
hit the
though.
ground.
One of the things I like the most about the Bengals is I actually like Zach Moss better on the Bengals than I like Joe Mixon.
Sometimes it is fit in scheme.
So now I got to go and I got to look at like the Texans where they now have Joe Mixon. And I'm like, yeah, it works there. But then I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, but with the Colts, I thought Zach Moss was at times better than Jonathan Taylor last year when Jonathan Taylor was out, especially when then he came back in. I don't know. So we'll see. I mean,
You'll see.
he just hasn't been able to put up the same numbers as he did before.
Well, that's why they play the games. So let's move on to predictions of games. We'll have 6 games.
Okay.
We're going to go over. All right. First one, Packers versus Eagles. We'll let you start off since you are the resident Eagles fan.
in Brazil.
Go ahead.
Brazil.
Yes. It's a home game for you, right?
It is.
Yeah,
Isn't that a wonderful home game?
it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I had to do it last year.
Listen, this is the thing that sucks about it is you get one of the, we like to play at our home stadium.
Yeah.
And now it gets taken away for playing in Brazil, which is unfortunate. The good news is
I had it last year.
is
I didn't go.
both teams aren't supposed to be wearing green at the stadium,
Which is weird.
which is dumb.
No, they're not supposed to be wearing green anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a gang thing.
Yeah.
They will die.
Yeah.
They're being transported in armored vehicles
The good news is,
So why would
Is
the
the
NFL
home-
do this?
because they're dumb.
yeah.
This drives news.
Yeah.
People are like, how stupid is this that this game in
I don't think they
Brazil
thought about
that's the Packers and Eagles at 6 p.m. Eastern time is they're not supposed to wear green. Both teams are green.
On a Friday night. On a Friday night. Anyways, the team that does play in Brazil is actually black and white is their colors. So the Eagles are wearing black and white. So positive for us about us being
Okay.
the home team is we got to pick our uniforms.
Beautiful.
We barely have any green at all. It's white jerseys with black pants and black helmets.
So
We have
who-
a hint of green.
So who do you have winning?
Dude.
You know, honestly, we always win our season openers. We don't actually really ever lose our season openers. I know that sounds crazy to say, but like probably out of the last 5 years, I think we've won every single one. So
Okay.
I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't know what Jordan Love's going to come out there with. He could come out there slinging it just like he was at the end of last year, or he could come out looking like week 1 Jordan Love last year, and we're like, yeah, we don't know if this guy's got anything.
Sure.
So I don't know. We'll see what we get out of Jordan Love. I think our offense is way too dominant for their defense, and I think our defense will be able to hold their own for the most part against their offense. So
Fair enough.
only thing that I don't know that scares me a little bit about is Josh Jacobs. Because I still think our run defense isn't really the greatest. And he either is going to come out looking like Raiders' first couple seasons, Josh Jacobs, or he's going to come out looking like he's older and, he's worn down running back. So we'll see. If Josh Jacobs comes out solid and is really running down the throats, then we might struggle. I could see that. If they kill us on the possession clock, it's going to be hard for us to win that game.
I have Eagles winning 21-14.
21-14?
2014.
I'll take that.
All right. I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think they've got more likely scenarios to succeed. I think I like the running back, Saquon Barkley, and he's healthy. Beginning of the season. Love was not very good. If you go back and listen to the clips at the beginning of the year, they're like, I don't know that this is going to be the guy. And then he got on a hot streak, and now we're going to give him $60 million. I just don't know what to expect from him.
It's a dangerous game.
He could be good, and they have some playmakers too, but I'm going to go with the Eagles on that as well. I'd say 24-17.
Ooh, I like that.
24-17. So we all have Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we'll go on to the next game. Chiefs, Ravens.
This is the first game
Chiefs,
of the NFL season.
Ravens.
Thursday night football, Cameron. What you got?
Cameron, you get to start us off.
I have the Ravens winning.
Okay.
Just on the recent track record of the Chiefs, we tend to lose like the first 2 or 3 games of the season, and then we get our footing, and then we have a hard time losing after that point.
And it's kind of
But
a revenge game too,
Yeah,
right?
we
So
just
it's like
kind of. I think we're gonna play it safe, and I think we're just kind of gonna let them win. In the sense,
Nobody does
well,
that.
in the sense of we're not gonna put ourselves on the line.
it
for
means
a
more for
season.
them.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
The revenge games, like you said, are so important. I mean,
For
this
the
is
Ravens,
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
For us, we don't
That's
care.
what I mean, though. The Ravens have this game immediately when it came out. They're like, "This is our game." It's just like the 49ers with the Eagles.
I think
Yeah.
they did it on purpose.
They're
Oh, yeah.
Well, and so you put that on the schedule, and you're like, that's gonna make up. It's not gonna make up, but it's gonna help them sleep better at night.
Well,
and the
it's
Chiefs
because-
don't. They're coming off so much. When you have that much success, it's hard to get motivated early in the season and have that same drive. So I get it.
I think they did it because the last memorable game of last season was the Chiefs and the Ravens, and then they just put it as the first game this year.
Yeah.
So it's part 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know how the Chiefs work, and they just kind of tend to start slow.
Yeah. They have.
Just because I think they pace themselves in a way almost.
Sometimes
to
you
not
got to.
just go all out the whole season, and then you're burnt out by the end.
Yeah.
If you start kind of slow, by the time you get to week 4, everyone else is getting in pace, and you're just starting. By the time playoffs roll around, you're at your peak when everyone else is hitting their decline.
Yeah.
I
Which
totally
tends
get
to
it.
be the way it goes. But that's how I go. I have Ravens winning 24-17.
24-17. All right. I am actually going to go the other way. I totally agree with the revenge thing, and I wanted to go there, but the Ravens lost some offensive linemen. They've also started slow over the last few years. I think Mahomes and company were sluggish last year at the beginning of the year, and I think it's a long season to have to come back from behind. And I think they're too smart, and I think they realize the hole that they dug at the beginning of the year, and they don't want to do it again, and I think they're going to start off strong. So I have the Chiefs winning. 28-21. So that would be my thing. And I just base it on last year. I think the Chiefs were able to hit that button, but as they get older, I think Andy Reid's going to have them ready and say, we don't want to do that again next year. And so I think they're going to start off strong. And the Ravens have had the same struggle type of thing. So and losing some offensive linemen and stuff and some key positions, and their linebackers are not the same. I think they're going to start slow. So, and I think the Chiefs will be better. I don't know that the season will end the same way as it did last time, but they will be actually a better roster. So what about you?
I actually agree with Cameron. And honestly, I'm just more on the superstitious level. I always feel like revenge games, you're always set up to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs-Eagles
Typically.
last year, Chiefs were set up to lose. Eagles-49ers, Eagles were set up to lose.
Yeah.
Those revenge games are hard,
They are.
man.
That's-
Because one team wants it so much more.
They do.
And it's not just a wanting to like play more, because everybody wants to play good, right?
Yeah.
It's just more of like, you have that, you've been sitting on it for 6 months. The 49ers got their schedule and they wrote that down 12 weeks later when they were going to play the Eagles.
They came out in warm-ups, several of them in all black.
Yeah.
It was all
I mean, like I said, revenge games are hard. So in
Yeah.
that case, I'm just going to take the Ravens 21-17.
Fair.
So
I
Okay.
don't know. I would say I agree with you that revenge games are set up for the Revengers to win, but
Yeah.
then they've won every Super Bowl.
Oh, gosh.
yeah, but our game was the revenge
Not
game
you.
after the
Him.
year.
Not you, him.
You never
Yeah.
really got your revenge, did you?
Well, it's
Nah,
what,
it's
4 or
just-
5
it's
years
3
later.
year-
Yeah.
It's a couple of years.
It's a little
loading.
different. This is different because it's
I know,
within
I'm
6
just-
months.
I just like to.
And
bring that
so they do.
Are you
know,
guys going to play this year during the Raven season?
it's
up. Chiefs.
The
Yeah.
49ers and
Yeah.
Chiefs?
Yeah.
What game is that?
I think it's like week 8.
Oh, gosh. That's
Yeah.
going to be fiery.
Yeah. Oh, we'll be talking about that. It's going to be tense in here.
That'll be good. That'll be a good one.
Yeah. So,
I'm fine.
all right, now we'll go with my 49ers versus the Jets.
Ooh.
We signed Trent Williams today. I was relieved. I don't know. I'm really concerned about an injury.
Reconstructed his contract.
I am really grateful that they got him, because if they wouldn't have got him, I was going to pick the Jets. Our offensive line is the weakest part of our game, and Trent Williams is the best. And you take him out, and we are not good.
You know, I was actually I'm sorry, I'm gonna totally get you sidetracked for a second. That's actually what I was gonna say when we brought up the Eagles. And one of the first players you mentioned was Lane Johnson. You know, they ranked him 40th of the top 100 players last year.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't allow one quarterback sack for over 2.5 years,
And he was 40th.
and he was 40th.
It's because they probably
Yet-
value
yet
the right tackle.
Trent
side.
Williams is number like 2. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Trent Williams allows sacks. Lane Johnson hasn't allowed a sack
I
in
know.
2.5 years.
I just think it's I hear what
weak
you're
side.
saying.
I'm sorry.
Lane
It's weak
Johnson.
side, it's dumb.
Yeah, that's why but I hear what you're saying.
Sorry.
So
I just had to get
you're,
I
get it.
just thought it was funny. It was one of the first players
Fair-
you brought up.
Fair enough. Well, I think he's great. There's no doubt.
I'm not saying he's better than Trent Williams. I'm just
No, no,
saying
no, I
it's
get-
wild they're that far apart on a list.
Yeah, you got the best right tackle versus the best left tackle.
Yes.
and there's 38 people.
38 people in between.
or 37. Yeah. Nope, I'm with you. I hear what you're saying. So I've got the 49ers beating the Jets. We are now healthy, and we
Well-
have everybody. It's just, will we? McCaffrey's been there. He's been on the sidelines, but he's been going full for a long time, and I like our roster. And we'll see where Rodgers is. Nobody knows where Rodgers is right now. He's coming back.
I don't think Rodgers knows.
And it's going to be a really good game, but I was really worried with Trent Williams out.
Yeah.
Because that defensive line for the Jets, they're good. They're really good, and our offensive line is not.
Yeah.
So I have the 49ers winning 28-17.
Okay.
Okay, what about you?
I had the 49ers winning
Okay,
21-19.
21-19, close game. It's 19. How are we going to get there? But we'll get there.
It's
Safety.
difficult.
Possible.
It is possible. All the points are possible.
I have 49ers winning 31-28.
Okay.
I think it'll be mostly offense.
Offense?
There won't be much defense.
That's probably a good call.
Just because the 49ers, if they go against a good offense, their defense, it tends to become less of a balanced game and more of a let's see how many points we can score.
Yeah.
And then it's just offense, 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 offense.
I think the 49ers
And then
run
it gets
defense is
really
going to be
boring.
the run defense is going to be interesting at the beginning of the year without Greenlaw, and we've got our weaknesses up the middle.
I was never high on Greenlaw.
Yeah, but I
Oh,
think he's the emotional
Greenlaw's
spirit.
awesome. Greenlaw
He's-
is great.
Yeah, but
He was blowing you up.
You complain about these cocky players and players that are like high on themselves, and then you love Greenlaw.
What are you talking about, though? What does he say? Name a quote that he said that's been bad.
It doesn't have. It's not a quote. It's like body
How he
language and
plays.
how he plays.
He just
thinks he's the best thing ever.
he's-
He's the reason he got himself hurt. He did his stupid little like.
all he did was run on the field.
Well, he ran cocky.
I watched it.
he was on the
watched
field, and it's like go, and he went this way.
I know. I watched
That was
it.
cocky.
I watched it.
Well, listen, no one who
Show
gets
the
that
clip.
many personal
Drew
flags.
is going to show the clip of a guy
I love.
going on the field, and that was called cocky.
I love this.
He's
This
going
is
to run
my
out there
favorite
cocky
thing.
and he's going to get injured again.
This is my favorite.
Listen,
thing.
That might be the dumbest thing
you
that
don't
I've
get
heard
that
on this
many
show.
personal flags
Yeah.
not being
he's
an ignorant, cocky player.
I don't think it's cocky. I think it's undisciplined. I
No.
do think he's
That's the same
undisciplined.
thing.
I think
I do
I
think
think
he's
just like
undisciplined.
Draymond Green plays
He-
a role, I think
He is the
Greenlaw
Draymond
plays a role.
Green of.
Yeah.
He is the Draymond
He's the
Green.
Yeah,
Draymond
he is
Green of
he is
football.
undisciplined. But the way he ran on the field with cocky is I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to utterly insane. It's utterly
Not
insane.
what I was saying, but
Okay, so that's who I have winning those games.
How do you feel about your team? What's going on there with the signings and stuff? Do you want to talk about that?
they're
I think yes, I think we can talk about it right now. Well, let's.
Why
let's
is it
wait.
so noisy?
Why is it? Okay, so here's what we'll. No, let's save this until after we're picks. We'll go do that after the picks. After the picks. All right, let's go. Cowboys Browns.
Yeah.
Cowboys Browns. Who wants to start?
yawn.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Yawn.
Okay,
It's going to be a low-scoring game. We're going 17-14. I'm
Okay.
taking the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how they'll pull it off, but they'll somehow find a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I picked this game because I think it's actually really interesting. First of all, I think we're going to get a look at what the Cowboys are going to do for offense. They could go out there and just light up the map. It's a possibility. Like I said, you can't count the Cowboys out. Or you're going to see them go out there and struggle to run the ball. You're going to see them struggle to pass the ball because they're going to put two defenders on CD Lamb and say good luck with the rest.
yeah.
We'll see how Dak's decision making goes. Sorry.
Last year he did a lot better.
Yeah.
Last year he did
and
do
you
a
know
lot
he's
better.
going into a contract year where he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, whether the Cowboys like it or not. At this point,
Yeah.
he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year,
Yeah.
and he's going to go out there and try to get some money.
Yep.
So he might play really
and
good.
He's going to get some money.
But I also think on the flip side of this, Deshaun Watson's got a lot to prove. And it sounds like they brought everyone from Houston to Cleveland at this point to try and get this guy to play like he did when he was in Houston.
and he is a talented quarterback.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's talented. But-
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think Cleveland's defense is more talented than some people think.
Yeah. I do.
Some people.
They have one player.
Anyways, we'll see. I just think it's a really interesting matchup. You're going to see two teams who I think where they go in their division will be decided in that first game. Where the Browns are going to end up placing in the division and where the Cowboys will end up placing in their division. I think a lot of it will be decided by that one game.
Week one's a big game.
Yeah.
Okay, Cameron, what about you? Who do you have?
I have Cowboys winning 24-17.
Good Lord.
because
We all, yes.
The Browns are awful.
Yeah.
The Browns are like dookie, straight dookie. I don't know what you see in the Browns. Deshaun Watson is washed up.
I mean,
He's
they made
awful.
the playoffs last year.
He's awful.
I think Deshaun Watson is not. I think the mind is a powerful thing, and I think because of where the position he put himself in with his off-season legal issues, I think mentally it's hard to get back on top when you have gone through all of what he has put himself through. I think mentally is his challenge. I
don't
think
think-
offensively his ability. He's a fast quarterback. He can throw hard. I mean, he was doing great with the Texans. It's just, I think it's hard when everybody hates you.
Just threw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins every time. He wasn't a good quarterback. He's going to do exactly what Dak's going to do this year, which is throw the ball to CeeDee
Lamb all the time. Well, I don't have them.
Good quarterback.
I
It
don't
just
have
means you
them
good
winning.
receiver.
I'm in agreement. I think the Browns are going to lose. I think the Cowboys will win. I think.
Well, we all picked the Cowboys.
Yeah, we all have the Cowboys winning. I just don't think the Browns have enough. They do have the best defensive player in the league on their team. But
I would agree.
I just don't have them winning that game. So let's move on. We got 2 more games. Rams, Lions. I've got the Lions winning this game 27-17. I think the Lions look good. They are a good team. This is a Super Bowl caliber team. They could easily go.
Yeah.
I think they were very close last year, and I think they're not worse. They're just as
Close
good.
doesn't win you
So,
games.
well, no, they don't, but they put you in position to win. And I think when you come back and you're hungry again, I think they're a really good team. So I have them winning by 10, 27-17.
I got 10 as well. I got 24-14.
24-14.
Yep, taking the Lions. Yeah, once again, I don't have 100% trust in Jared Goff, but at the end of the day, I think this is a really cool matchup where you got 2 quarterbacks who know each other very well, who were a decision made at one point to be traded for multiple picks as well, and now they get to play against each other again, and it should be interesting.
I think St. Brown's was ticked off getting 1,500 yards and not being in the Pro Bowl. I think he's driven and wanting to come back.
Oh, he's pissed.
Yeah, he is. And when they have a little bit of everything. So I like what the Lions
He's the
have to
David
offer.
Goggins
He'll be
of,
the best receiver
of
in the
wide
league this year.
receivers.
Yeah.
That guy's writing a list down.
He'll be the best receiver in the league this year.
You think he'll have the best stats?
He's probably torturing himself in a cave right now.
Well, and I think his dad, what was he, like a competition weightlifter or something, and so he grew up and he was hard on him, but like it taught him discipline and work ethic, and so he's not just about the money. He's the real deal, and now he's driven. Now he feels it's personal. So I see them winning. Cam, what about you?
I have Lions winning 24-7. The Lions are good and the Rams are bad. That's as simple as it gets. Lions good,
Very
Rams
in
bad.
depth.
Wow,
They're
that's
just
deep.
the Lions have so much more to give than the Rams do. The
Yeah.
Rams have declined. They made it to the Super Bowl. They won, and then Cooper Kupp hit a wall. Puka Nacua is in his second year. I think he'll be good, but I don't think he's enough.
Yeah, I don't think Puka's going to have the same return this year.
I can't see them.
Puka
being
didn't.
good.
As soon as Cooper Kupp came back, Puka's stats went way down.
Yeah.
He started
because
off
they like
awesome.
that little white boy.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Booper Bupp is awful.
Kupp is awful.
He had one good season.
He had more than one good season.
If he
but
was
he
was on any other team, he'd be a second string.
no,
Well, I don't know.
no.
Yeah.
No.
I
Listen, I don't know if
wouldn't
what
take him.
happened to you, Cooper Kupp. Is it Eastern Washington?
He's not good.
Did you run into him somewhere at like a big?
He's just not good.
No.
I never liked him.
He's not good.
He won the Triple Crown, Cameron. Give him some respect,
Cooper
dude.
Kupp is
Anyone
really
can win the
good.
Triple Crown.
No
when you
one's
only
done that!
throw it to him. When you throw it to him every time,
Oh.
and you throw the same, you run the same route every time, and you
If
get
it
6
Yeah, but
works,
yards off of it.
defenses
works-
knew that. Defenses knew that, and it still worked.
Yeah, because it's
Give him some credit, man.
He's phenomenal.
I will not.
receiver.
I mean,
will
I
not.
agree that I
It's
don't know
like-
that he's going
it's
to come
like
out and have the
button
greatest
mashing.
season, but
It's
come
like-
on.
It's like spamming a move in like a fighting game that you
Oh,
know can't
come
be blocked.
on.
It's like the tush push.
Oh,
something-
come on.
It's
Oh,
like,
come on.
it's like the hot dog or whatever corn
Listen,
dog.
the
Like-
tush
Corn
push.
dog.
Yeah,
The
it's-
tush
it's
push
a
takes
stupid-
skill.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
it's
it does.
A stupid
Well,
play
it must,
that works
because
every
nobody
time,
else can do it.
and it's annoying. It's
No
not
one
real
pushes
football.
tush
It's not
like-
real football.
Like us out in Philadelphia.
It's not real football.
Yeah, you wish you could push tush like
Well,
we do.
listen,
You
I
won't
don't.
be able
We'll
to do it
see.
anymore.
Yeah, we'll see how much that was
That was
Kelsey.
all Kelsey.
Listen, we've been greasing the poles out in
Oh
Philly.
Lord, we're gonna have to edit this whole thing. This is
I'm sure you have.
this thing's
been.
okay. We've derailed this, so let's move on to Dolphins. Last game, Dolphins Jags. I've got Dolphins winning this game, 28. I'll say 28-21 over Jags. I just think at the beginning of the season, my concern with the Dolphins is going to be Tua and his health. I can't. It's hard for me to get over what happened a year and a half ago to him. I am glad he made it through the season. I'm scared for his future. But I think at the beginning of the season, he's totally fine, and I see them doing well, and I've got them winning pretty easily, actually.
What do you got, Cam?
I have the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have the best offense in the league, and I think they will absolutely demolish teams that don't have defenses like the Jaguars.
I think they're going to take very
And I
much
have them.
advantage
I
of them.
have them winning 31-21.
Yeah, I'll second
By
that
10?
motion.
Yeah.
By 10?
And I mean, they're going to easily score those points. They could probably score 40. But I'm capping them at 31 because I don't think they're going to go crazy. I think Tyreek Hill is going to tone it down a little bit for their opening game.
I'll give them 14 points. That's for sure.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I think Mike McDaniel.
Did you see him?
I think people will start to
He's
actually
hilarious.
show respect
I
to
love
him.
Mike McDaniel.
You know, like right
He's a
now,
funny
he's
dude.
kind of just that new kid on the block, and people like him because he's the new kid on the block. But I think this season will start to get respect.
I think the
Actual
Dolphins-
league respect.
The Dolphins are serious contenders. I get nervous the more and more I see the Dolphins.
They got a solid team.
What about their defense?
Subpar, but so is the Chiefs.
Yeah. You think their
The
offense?
thing
their
with the
offense
AFC, the AFC is so offense driven, and the NFC is so defense driven. It's such an interesting thing because once you get to the Super Bowl, it really shows like you gotta have a little bit of both.
No.
And if you don't have a little bit of both, one team is going to win like by a lot. And it's
Yeah.
going to be kind of a clear. Or you get something like what we had last year with the 49ers and Chiefs, which was just a super boring game because nothing happened and like half of the points were field goals.
No.
Because no one could. Defenses were even, offenses were even. And so you're just crawling the whole time, and it's very hard to watch. It was like what was that other one? Patriots Rams with Todd Gurley when Todd Gurley was still
yeah.
there. That was an awful Super Bowl.
Oh.
Because it was just like
Don't bring that
you're
up.
just scraping nails on a chalkboard the whole time. It's just awful to watch.
That was
Anyways.
when Jared Goff was still there, right?
Yeah. Jared Goff, and that was Todd Gurley's like MVP season. That was like 2017.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyways.
Yeah.
So okay, well let's move on to our crazy, wild, interesting, crappy
Who's
off season, the 49ers off season,
just
and the
you.
late.
It's just you.
And I'm going to tell you what I think's gone on. Okay, because
can tell you
I've
exactly
thought
what's
about
going
it.
on.
Well, no, you're going to listen to and hear what really happened because I've got no inside information. But this is what I think's happening with the 49ers. I love John Lynch. I've got an autograph from John Lynch right on here.
Which one is his?
Well, we'll have to. I think it's I think it's this one. No, I can't remember. It's one of these down
It's
here.
just a lot of scribble.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, I love John Lynch. I think he is a
about $5.
great guy. And I want him to be our GM, and I want him to go forward. Here's the problem that I think's happened with the 49ers. They pay everybody, and John Lynch wants to be still like a player's GM friend and whatnot. And I think whenever you're good at any level, most teams, except for, I would say, two exceptions that I've seen. Patrick Mahomes did it very well, and Tom Brady did it very well. They took less money to help their teams be better. Almost everybody else does not do that. And they should, but they don't. The 49ers have been one of the most successful teams for about a 5-year span. They've been great. When you're great, in the NFL, you only play for 3.5 years on average. As soon as you make it, you try to get paid. Everybody does it. And what you've learned with John Lynch is you just wait, you're patient, they'll pay you. Whatever you ask for. So for Purdy, whatever they offer Purdy at the beginning of the season, from a financial standpoint, if it's just finances, you wait. because they are going to pay you at the end. We have not gotten rid of anybody since then. And I think what happened with Ayuk, I think there was some tension between Ayuk and Kyle from the very beginning. He was in the doghouse the first year of Kyle's doghouse. And this was the first time they were like, legitimately, we'll consider trading you. So what we're going to do is we're going to draft Pearsall in the first round, and we're going to see if we can replace him. They drafted him, and they were waiting for that offseason, and unfortunately, Pearsall got hurt, and they didn't get to see anything. Because they didn't see anything, now you're going into a Super Bowl thing, not having any idea if Pearsall is going to be what you hope him to be or not, and they caved. And I think every time it comes down to it, a player knows, go for it. They'll give him whatever he wants. McCaffrey's the highest paid running back, goes in and says, I want more money. Okay. Debo says, I want one of the highest. Okay. Warner, I want one of. Okay. They're paying everybody. And so I think the players, you talk about Ayuk. Ayuk wanted to be here. Ayuk just before the season went and bought a really nice house and planted his family in San Francisco going into his 5th-year option. He was offered more money to play for New England. He was offered at multiple people. He wanted to stay here, but I think he gambled, just like the 49ers gambled on Pearsall, and it didn't work out because we didn't know how he's going to be. I think they gamble, and they know in the end, because we haven't won, we'll cave. And I think that's what happened. I think they caved.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you said that you like John Lynch.
I do.
You said that you want him to be your general manager.
I do.
Why do you want someone that is bad at dealing with players and contracts as your GM?
I think, first things first, it depends on your perspective. If you're the player, if I was a good player, I would want to go to the 49ers for John Lynch. I think that'll help attract people to the 49ers because John Lynch will pay players. One time, John Lynch didn't do it, and I think he got reamed for it. We got rid of Buckner, and it hurt us. And I think he thought, I don't ever want to do that again. Now, he was going to do it with Ayuk, but he didn't do it because of a player that got hurt.
But that's not good.
Yeah, it's not
That's
good for
really
this.
I'm not
sad.
saying it's great. I agree.
It's,
I
like,
think what he
actually
should have done.
terrible.
I think what they should have done is they should have traded him.
Because
Now we're gonna be in a problem situation. But because they lost, if they would have won, Ayuk wouldn't be on the team. Because they lost, now it's like gambling. It's the addiction of gambling. You're like, crud, now I got to go more in. I got to be all in. I got to be all in. And that's what they're doing right now. They're just going all in
what
right now.
happens when they run out of money?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Purdy next year. Because this is what's going to happen is
It's a
we're going to lose.
terrible
We're going to
business.
lose. Well, we'll see if they win or if they lose.
Yeah, but that's not going to matter.
Well, it does. I mean, you look
Not
at the
enough.
Rams. You know why so many people are, if you look at Sean McVay, everybody says, well, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people say he's a great coach.
Yes.
Let's see what Sean McVay has done since I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but let's talk about how great he is. He won one Super Bowl. In that one Super Bowl they won, they were all in financially. They were more in than the 49ers. They were all their chips were in for this. If you go look, all of it was in. And in that game, they shouldn't have won the NFC Championship. Kyle Shanahan has lost 2 games to him. One was that NFC Championship game when the 49ers had a free interception, the game's over, and it went through Tart's hands and fell to the ground. And then they win the game at the end. If he doesn't win that game, Shanahan, I think, is like 10-2. He lost that game, and he lost one last year when the 49ers were already in the playoffs with the number 1 seed, and they didn't play any of the players, and the Rams barely won to go into the playoffs. Shanahan has destroyed him. So he's had one good year, and he's a genius. So this is what happens with Lynch. You win, and you're great. If you lose, they say you're a loser. So what they're doing is they're going all in. And I'm not saying I agree with everything.
It's just the manner in which they're doing it, though. It's ugly. It's a distraction, and it's gross to the other team. Imagine that you're the backup left tackle, and you've done nothing but work your tail off all summer, and then Trent Williams signs a contract. Yes, he's the greatest left tackle in the league. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, but you got another left tackle out there just worked his tail off all year just to have Trent come in the week before and be like, all right, I'm starting. Like, how ugly is that? to your team? Where does that show other players on your team?
Cave. I think it'll show the Cave.
And how about Brandon Ayuk? Same situation. You got other wide receivers. You got other wide receivers who are out there working their tails off, and then you just have Brandon Ayuk come in the week before and be like, "Nah, I'm starting now."
And also to talk,
it's not healthy. And you talked about taking hometown discounts. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith took hometown discounts just this year. And they're wide receivers. They're not even quarterbacks.
I think A.J. Brown is the third highest paid receiver in the league.
He's like the fourth or fifth. But
that's not the high. That's
but you got to look at the way it's structured, though. You got to look at the way it's structured. It's a 3-year extension on a 2-year that's already favorable, and then the next year after that's even more favorable.
But so all of those contracts are like that. Almost every contract is situated so you could maybe stop after 3 years or 4 years. A lot of these teams, a lot of the 49ers players were like that. Warner was like that. Kittle was like that. This is
you paid the reason, Brandon Ayuk.
Yes.
More money
I agree.
per year
I'm not happy with
than AJ freaking Brown.
So yes. I think AJ Brown. I just
30 million.
Is 32 this year.
No, he's 30. He's 30 million.
I just look
on an extension.
So I'll look it up.
It's probably 32 potential.
Yeah, I saw something that he was like, I think 3.
His cap hit is probably less.
Yeah, the cap hit.
I want to go back to the Sean McVay thing. Yeah. If you put Sean McVay on the 49ers and put Kyle Shanahan on the Rams, it's the same thing. Kyle Shanahan is not a better coach than Sean McVay. Sean McVay is a better coach.
Okay, but based on what? 1 year? Because he's gotten destroyed every other year. He's not had a good year except for one.
Anyone can be a good coach with the talent that you have.
So who gave the talent? See, that's the problem. Is
your terrible GM who will just pay these big names whatever money that they whine for.
Okay, but wait a minute. Let's try to break that down.
Okay,
you're saying he's a terrible GM.
Yes.
And we have great players
because pay them.
But wouldn't you want your GM to produce and have on your team great players? You draft great players and you build them up and you pay great players. And they, outside of the Chiefs, have been the most successful since John Lynch has been in the league. The second most successful team in the league has been the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So to say he's terrible is not based on what you're watching, what you're seeing. It's what we're feeling. I would say he handled a couple situations poorly. And I think Brandon Ayuk, they should have traded. I said, a week ago, they're going to sign him and they're going to overpay, and I wasn't happy. I think he messed up this, so I support this. I support the disagreement of what John Lynch did this time. I think he went all in with Pearsall. I think they were going to trade him. And then he got hurt, and then they panicked. And I think he made a mistake. But he has been successful since he's been here. They went from terrible to great, and they've withstood the test of time. So it's hard for me to say he's bad, but I think he has made some major mistakes. I think Buckner was a mistake, and I think Ayuk is a mistake.
I think if you look at the team as a business, they've made terrible business decisions. They have no foundation. The top looks pretty, the face looks pretty, but you walk in the building and it's empty.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
You have no depth.
What do you mean we don't have any depth? The 49ers have been in the
hold up, time out. To be fair to Cameron, what he just said, let's just stop right there. That exact point. You have no depth. Your guys' backup linebacker in the Super Bowl that came in
was terrible
for Greenlaw.
Yeah.
His name is Oren Burks.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even make our 53-man roster.
They were 7 for 9
He couldn't even make our
him.
Practice squad.
You guys sign these huge players.
That's most teams. If you take Patrick Mahomes out, you're not making the playoffs. If you take a key player out of a game, they're not going to be as good. The Greenlaw is a major. He's probably last year. I think he was rated like 4th or 5th best linebacker in the league. So
but for your backup and to not even be able to make a practice squad on a rival team.
I don't know. I don't know about that. We lost. We had Al Jazeera that we ended up losing.
The thing
and
is,
he was a good linebacker the previous year.
John Lynch.
He was a good third linebacker.
John Lynch is an all or nothing. Mm-hmm. If you don't have all of your pieces, you have nothing.
I think that's the case we're trying to make here.
Okay.
Because every single year, a single player will get hurt.
That's not
or maybe two, and then the story becomes
Cameron,
We were injury prone. We had injuries. That's why we lost.
Okay, here's the thing. In the Super Bowl,
Yes.
the Chiefs lost no one.
Yes.
In the Super Bowl, the
Yes.
49ers lost 5 starters.
Okay.
A game went into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Kittle was another one that had to leave the game
Yes.
at the very end of the game, which was a massively key important. He had to leave and go get a shot. When you lose Kittle, when you lose Greenlaw, when you lose a cornerback and you lose a safety, and the biggest play of the game, they lost a right guard. And that's where Chris Jones came in on that last play, and it caused it to be. It's
can
not
I
it's
ask
not
something?
all or none. It's not one player. It's 5.
It just happened to be 5.
Well, that's
I think even if you just lose Kittle or you just lose Greenlaw, you still lose that game.
it went into overtime. It was
did.
we missed an extra point.
I know.
But if
I'm
the
just-
Chiefs lose 5 players, they don't win that game.
Probably not.
That's so it's not
But it's-
one.
yeah,
It's
but that's-
5. That's half of a
I'm
starting
not-
team.
I'm not saying that you guys getting injured wasn't the reason you lost that game. I'm just saying every single season that you guys lose, it's because of injuries.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Now
you
you're
need
onto
to-
something.
Maybe you need to stop paying your players so much and hire actually good physical therapists and trainers and actual
that
staff.
is different, and that is what I think our problem is. I think our training
this
stuff
is
in
what
the
I've been
off
trying to
season
get at.
is. I totally agree that
You guys
point.
are so injury prone because you spend so much money on these big names, but then you have nothing to protect them with. You have nothing to keep them safe.
I think the training situation, we actually got rid of all of our trainers.
Yeah.
The 2 years before because they got all hurt. We actually went into the Super Bowl this year really healthy, and that game we went into, we had lost Hufanga, but in the NFL you're going to lose some people.
You're going to lose some players.
You're going to lose some. We actually went in really healthy.
You're never going to go into the
That-
Super Bowl with every single one of your players.
No, and no team is. But that game we went in really healthy. But that unfortunately that last game we got blown up. But the Chiefs won, and I don't want to take anything away from the Chiefs. They won, and they
and
deserve
I'm not
to
trying
win.
to take away from the 49ers. I'm just saying I just like business standpoint, it's bad business.
I think the thing that is hard to try to say to somebody that has been that close to winning the Super Bowl 4 times in a 5-year span, that close to say they're terrible, I think is a
I'm not
pretty
saying that
or
the
bad.
49ers are terrible.
I'm talking about
saying your GM is bad.
But John Lynch is the one that puts that team together. And so I mixed with him. Like the part of me, I think he's done a really good job and players want to play for him. And that is a draw. And if you're a great player, you especially want to play for him because he will pay you. I'm concerned about our future. And that's, if we don't win this year, I think he's mortgaging things down the road. So
There's got to be more to it, though, because if players really wanted to play for John Lynch, these contract negotiations wouldn't be that hard.
They would take.
You're telling
pay
me you
cuts.
needed 6 months to sign Trent Williams when you knew he was the best player on your team?
he was signed. What happened with Trent Williams, his was different. He was already signed for
It was a
another 3 years.
contract restructure.
See, this would be the argument for John Lynch in a way. He had a killer contract signed for Trent Williams several years ago. So there's no guarantees. So Trent Williams came into the year and said, "Hey, I want some guarantees." And it's a fair ask for him. And so he went and said, I want guarantees and I don't really want to be there in the offseason anyway. And they knew that they were going to sign Trent Williams. Ayuk, I think he's made some mistakes, and I think Ayuk was a mistake.
I think the problem that I'm having is your players that you guys are signing don't feel like team players. They feel like individuals on a team.
Yeah.
And the way that they're treating these contracts and treating John Lynch is just like, I can abuse this because you're going to sign no matter what I do.
Yeah.
And then these other players that are below them that are working really hard see that, go, why would I even try? And then it comes to the Super Bowl when it's their time because everyone's hurt. And now they have nothing because they haven't been working, because why would they? They're not going to make money. They're not going to be on the starting squad because John Lynch doesn't care about you because you're not in the top 20.
It does seem slightly abusive.
Yeah.
Like these players at this point know that they're getting away with this.
The players that
Christian
are,
McCaffrey wanted more money. They paid him. Trent Williams wants guarantees. They paid him. Brandon Ayuk wanted to be paid like a top 5 wide receiver, even though he's probably
top 15,
top 15
maybe.
at the most.
I think
they
that
paid him.
I think this is the thing that I was trying to say at the beginning, where I like John Lynch. And he's had success. You can't say he hasn't had success.
Oh no,
He's
I'm
had
not arguing
success.
that he hasn't put together a great team for the last couple
My
years.
concern going forward is I think because of what happened with him with Buckner, I think he's folded. And I think going forward is more my challenge with John Lynch rather than the past, if that makes sense. I think right now he's wanting to be liked, and I like him as a person. I think he's done a good job. But I bet John Lynch will be there 1 or 2 more years, and I think he's going to be done, because I think he's realized I don't like being in this position as a player. I know what it's like to want to get paid, and I don't like saying no. And I think he's got 1 or 2 years left. Yeah.
Do you think that if any other GM on any other team did the same stuff that John Lynch was doing, where he's signing these huge name players and building these super teams and then not winning, would they keep him around? I don't understand why they still have him around. He has signed all these huge names and built these super teams, and then they fall short year after year after year.
So let's...
Why? Why are they falling short?
Okay, so here's what people do where they overreact. Okay, let's look at this. Last year, you're as close to 2 Super Bowls, as close as you could possibly be to winning. Mm-hmm. You're up 10... 4 or 5 years ago in the fourth quarter with 7.5 minutes ago. And in this game, you're ahead in overtime.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking every team wants to be in the Super Bowl. Almost every team never makes the Super Bowl. So he's put you in a position to succeed. So I would, I think we're being way too hard on him. I think he's made mistakes, but he's also done what the other 30 teams wish they could do, is get to the Super Bowl. And he's doing that. He's getting to the NFC Championship game or beyond. So the question is, sometimes injuries are unfortunate and unlucky. Okay, you have 2 different strategies. Don't pay big name players. I think Hargrave was a bad signing. But don't pay big games, because he was terrible last year.
Oh,
he was.
I could have told you that.
He was massive. That was our weakness, besides some of our right side of our offensive line. But so he's made mistakes, and he hasn't drafted well in the first. But we're winning, and we have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Every team going in says, "I want to have a legitimate chance. I want people to say this is a contender." He's put a contender. We were not contenders in 96, 7, 9, 8, 9. I mean, for 20 years, we were not a contender, except for a Harbaugh period of time. He's a contender every year. So I just think right now what he's got to the point, I think he's only got a year or 2 left, and now they're starting to take advantage. And I think it's going to be the end of him. That's where I think. I think he's done well up to now, but now everybody's getting paid. And I think they're hurt in the future going forward. So
only time will tell. We'll see how it plays out.
Time will tell. Okay, so next, what I want to talk about is something we haven't really talked about much on the show, but I've got
good old baseball.
Baseball. I heard Dan Lebitard on ESPN, and he was talking about something, and it struck a chord with me. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. I know he took steroids. Obviously, he took steroids. Did they officially catch him taking steroids? No. Was he charged?
If they can catch him.
No. But can you tell a pitcher that his head is twice as big? Yes, you can tell he took steroids. But here's the thing, and this is what I really struggle with: hypocrisy. I think people need to take the plank out of their own eye before they remove the speck out of someone else's eye. This is what the MLB did. They were dying. They were really struggling. And then you have a few players coming, and was Sosa, McGuire, and they were hitting home runs. And all of a sudden, fans started coming back, and they start promoting it. Everybody knew they were doing roids. Everybody, even though they said no, they didn't do it. Everybody knew it. The Major League Baseball was saying, great, we're being saved by these people. They made money. They promoted it, and they did all this. It's utter hypocrisy. And then Barry Bonds comes in, and he does roids. Absolutely, like a lot of players did. I'm not justifying it. I don't like cheating. I don't like it. I'm not trying to justify it. But the moral police out there are the people that really just didn't like Barry Bonds. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are voting him out. The craziest stat, okay, is this. Barry Bonds, he had almost 3,000 hits, which there's some players that do it, but that's a lot. 762 home runs. He walked 2,550 times. Walked. They intentionally walked him all the times. I watched in a game where it was the bases loaded, 2-run game. They intentionally walked Barry Bonds. The Giants are down 2, and they intentionally walked him. The guy was insane. Here's his stats, okay? If you take out Barry Bonds, 7 MVPs. He got 7. If you take all the stats away from 7 MVPs, he has 440 home runs and 359 stolen bases. Do you know how many people have done that in the Major League Baseball history? 0. If you take 7 seasons away, he's done something nobody's done. And then they're sitting there, and here they profit off it. They know it. It saved baseball. And then they're like, oh, we're just ashamed by this. And then they take it away. I think it's a shame to not have a Michael Jordan would be a shame in basketball to not have him in the NBA Hall of Fame. I know I've heard people about LeBron James. Is he taking some, enhancements to keep his age this? There's been rumors about that for a long time. I'm not saying he is. There's been rumors about it for a long time. I don't, if you don't have proof, we can't accuse people and make our moral decisions based on what we feel or what we think, even if we have really good feelings on it. To not have a LeBron James would be terrible. To not have Michael Jordan because he had a gambling problem and did he gamble on games would be a shame. To have somebody who's the home run leader, he has 400 more times he's been walked than the second highest person in like 120 whatever seasons of Major League Baseball. He has 7 MVPs. You get rid of all of those steroid errors. You take the whole steroids era, say he has 0 stats, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And he's not in the Hall of Fame. I think it's insane that he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I think 2026 is the last time, and this is actually people that hate him, that didn't like him, because Barry Bonds was a putz with the media, and they're the ones that are voting, and they're keeping him out. And I think it's a shame.
Yeah. He's got a little bit of the T.O. syndrome, too.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which T.O.'s gone through his own situation with that. I mean,
Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. I know. It's because of feelings. Their feelings were hurt. It's because of, it's not morality. Because the same people that are claiming morality or cheating, the same people saying it, promoted it. Yeah. If you make money off of it and you're promoting it and you know they're doing it, and then when people after he retires and you make all this money say, what a shame that he did it. I agree. I would say take away his stats and does he still make it? I say put him in. Otherwise it's a joke Hall of Fame.
I don't know if they necessarily knew he was doing it, only because at the time there wasn't a lot of knowledge on PEDs just in general. And so to point it out and now we can obviously see it because we know. We've seen it all the time. We know the effects. At the time, it was a pretty new thing. And I think the problem is if they let him in, they have to let a lot of other people in. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where it sucks. But if
they also don't have any proof.
He never was charged. And I think it's one of those things everybody knows he did. He wasn't charged with it. So how do you do it? And then I'll go the flip side of that, because I hear what that argument is. I do get it. Then you got to put Sosa, and then you got to put Mark Moyer, and you got to put Clemens in, and all that kind of stuff. I totally get that. But the flip argument is, what about the players that did make it during that era? We don't know if they did steroids. Almost everybody did. A lot of people did. So where do you hold this? All they're doing is they are deciding. I think Bob did it, but not John.
That's like going back and testing the Chicago Bulls for which ones did cocaine.
You're right.
Half the NBA, half the NBA was doing cocaine.
They did. That is true. Early 80s, all of the time. It was all the time.
Actually, it's probably more than half. It's probably 80%.
And they had a huge problem a lot of the Steelers and a lot of the players back in the late 70s were taking illegal drugs to help them get going. I just think it's a sham. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame too. I think the best players should be there. It is not a moral Hall of Fame. It is who are the best players. And when you don't have the home run champion, 7-time MVP. The guy did everything. Why you don't have him in? I think it's a
Makes no
shame.
sense.
And if you were consistent, I would say something different. But they're not consistent. They made money. It saved the league. They promoted it. They knew it. And then they all of a sudden went, oh, man, yeah, that's terrible. I think it's fake.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I'd put them in. So, all right. Well, season starting Thursday night, right?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. Let's see how it goes.
And then Friday on Peacock.
Yeah. Friday night. What do you think? Last thing, having a Friday night game, because they made a big thing about not doing Friday night games to protect high school football. I think the people that are going to local high school football are going to go to local high school football.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they're actually doing it personally on Friday, because if you're going that far away and you're making a team be a home game in Brazil, let them get the travel back and have the extra days. But what do you think of having a Friday night game?
I don't know. It is what it is.
Is what it is.
At least I get to watch my team in prime time.
Yeah, and it's good that it's
The one
first game of the season.
The one downside is I really wanted to watch the first primetime Eagles game on my new TV.
Yeah.
Yet I'm going to be up north.
Oh, we got a marathon. We got a marathon runner.
That really sucks. I actually am half tempted to stay down here just to watch the Eagles game and then drive up. That's how bad I want.
Don't do it.
I shouldn't
it's
do that.
7 a.m. starting time. No, you worked too hard for it. The Eagles will do well up there, just like they'll do well with you down here.
We'll see.
All right, here we go. We'll talk next week, and let's see how the season starts. Thanks for joining us.